Welcome to my presentation. First, do no crime. Criminally charging healthcare providers for accidental medical errors. Are these criminals? The most trusted profession. Nurses are one of the most trusted professions. With their expertise and dedication in caring for people and their loved ones' well-being. Care providers, I'm on your side. As a registered nurse for 24 years and a DHHS nurse consultant, investigator, and surveyor, I've seen firsthand the conditions that lead to medical errors and know where the law and responsibility of these errors lie. The long-standing precedent norm has been not to criminally indict medical professionals unless it's gross negligence or intent. The licensing board and civil malpractice court deal with these matters. Healthcare entities and providers warn that criminalizing unintentional medical errors will lead to worse patient outcomes. Overall, the healthcare industry is very concerned that fewer people will want to work in the healthcare field due to the fear. Although there should be accountability and responsibility to do no harm from healthcare providers, there should not be criminal charges for unintentional medical errors because there will be more medical errors. Trepidation will be felt by healthcare providers will lead to fewer reporting errors and further healthcare provider shortages in which will create unsafe conditions for all patients. Very few cases that have been criminally dealt with. In 1990, a couple of cases, 2000, one case, 2015, one case, and most recently in 2018, a nurse was criminally charged with criminal homicide and impaired adult abuse. The most recent 2018 criminally charging and conviction of a HCP for a medication error. There was no initial action taken against the nurse. 2 years later, a tip came in to CMS. CMS investigated and found that the hospital had several deficiencies and had systemic deficiencies, one of the higher level infractions a facility can receive. It was common practice that the hospital allowed nurses to perform the system override to gain access to the patient's meds. This is what the nurse did. The nurse was criminally charged shortly after the conclusion of the investigation of the hospital. Are those sounds familiar? Those are sounds that you hear within the environment. The environment and conditions the providers are subject to are very unpredictable work environments. They're very loud, as you can tell. Crowded workspaces, fast-paced, inadequate staffing, exposure to pathogens, violence and emotional trauma, system failures, insignificant systems and equipment. Medical errors. Healthcare providers should be held accountable for their actions, but most medical errors are beyond their control. Also, medical errors are the third largest killer in the United States. Someone has to pay, right? Patients will lose trust in their healthcare institutions, perceiving that staff is neglectful and incompetent. Those families will never receive a sense of justice for their pain of the loss of the loved one to a medical error. How about, does that bus driver who runs the red light, crashes, and kills multiple children get off without charge? Well, let me tell you, hospitals are just as culpable as healthcare providers in medical errors. It is much harder to explain how punishing one nurse with jail time further prevents from them endangering others. Comparing traffic violations to medical errors, it's described best by J. Dickerson. They are acting independent, not within the constraints of a complex system. Thus, criminal sanctions will deter this reckless behavior and protect society by removing unsafe drivers from the streets. Dickerson, 2022. To carry. Historical cases prove that it isn't just the error, it is the severity of the outcome that promotes criminal charges for healthcare providers. Just imagine the message that we're sending to our healthcare providers. Not only will you lose your livelihood and your career, if you are unlucky with your error, you will go to prison for the rest of your life. Imagine what a healthcare provider feels with that on their shoulder each time they report for duty. There are two kinds of healthcare providers: those who have made errors and those who will make an error. Watt, 2022. Those are heavy burdens for us to carry as healthcare providers, especially coming on the tail end of the worst pandemic of our lifetime, where we all stood front line to care for our sick. It is time to act. Congress needs to act and pass laws that protect healthcare providers. Medical errors happen to all of us in the healthcare industry and should not be considered a crime. It is crucial that we urge our legislators to act and prevent such occurrences from happening again. Let's lobby for this cause.